1, and you're live.
Good morning, Summa scholars. Welcome to the Daily Summa. Today is May 8th, and it's not morning because of all the stuff we've already said before. Okay, Habemus Papam. Habemus Papam. We got the new Papa.
Yeah, dude.
White smoke today, friend. How you doing, Joe?
Good.
Guys, again, we have stuff to do. There's things happening tonight. There's jazz that needs to be, there's some music that needs to be possibly played. There's for all you Houston people watching, I'm not like playing a gig, just playing out some stuff. And then there's probably some drinks that need to be drunk, maybe a cigar that needs to be smoked. There's Habemus Papam celebrations going on. There was talk of not doing a Summa today, but it's not about the DOF, it's about the Yomi. It's not about the page, it's about the daily, folks. We have certain times we don't do the show. Octaves, and we thought it was appropriate to not work on the feast of St. Joseph the Worker. And but today is a day of a definite cause for celebration. We have the new Pope. We'll see. American, spent a lot of time in Peru.
Yeah.
He hables some Espanol. Pope Leo the 14th, right?
Yep.
Yeah, amazing. So guys, since we have stuff to do, Joe had to drive all the way down to the place I was at, to drive all the way back to just where he came from, set everything up. Took a while. We got stuff to do, you know. This is all for you, dear people. That's why you need to go to craigkinsey.locals.com and sign up for our locals page and help us so we can get some mad kachingos and keep doing this, because we can't keep doing it forever. All right, let's do a short page. We have an actual short page. There's nothing back here. So let's see how quick we can do it. Let's see if we can break some records today and get back to the den, and with all the people waiting on us. Top of page 177, we're at Article 3 of Question 15, probably the shortest question we've had, perhaps. Therefore, there are no ideas in God of all things known by him. That was the end of a question. Now we're going to go to the meat of the page, on the contrary, and I answer that. On the contrary, ideas are types existing in the divine mind, as is clear from Augustine. But God has the proper types of all things that he knows, and therefore he has ideas of all things known by him. He has the proper types of all ideas known for him. Next in the respondio, he's going to hit up one of his favorite words, exemplar. Let's see if we can dig into that and get to the meat of the situation. As ideas, according to Plato, are principles of the knowledge of things and of their generation, an idea has this twofold office. As it exists in the mind of God, so far as the idea is the principle of the making of things, it's the principle of the making of things, it may be called an exemplar. It belongs to practical knowledge. Remember, there's practical and speculative knowledge. We have the practical and speculative intellect. Human soul in Aristotle divided into, well, body, soul, body, mind. And then of the soul, there is the irascible and the concupiscible appetites. And then there is the intellect, which is divided into practical and speculative. So now he's saying, how do those things relate to ideas in the mind of God? But so far as it is a principle of knowledge, it is properly called a type. Okay, so as far as it is the principle of the making of things, it's an exemplar. But so far as it is a principle of knowledge, it is properly called a type. And may belong to speculative knowledge also. Thomas wants to say that these ideas in God are both of a practical and speculative nature. An exemplar, therefore, has respect to take 3. As an exemplar, therefore, it has respect to everything made by God in any period of time. Whereas as a principle of knowledge, it has respect to all things God known by God, even though they never came to be in time, and to all things that he knows according to their proper type, insofar as they are known by him in speculative manner. Let's try this, see if we can make this a metaphor. If you have the old signet ring, the signet ring stamps into the wax. Inasmuch as it's stamping into wax or putting forms into the material world, it is a exemplar. and part of practical knowledge. But insofar as you're contemplating the nature, maybe that's, no, nature's not good. You're contemplating the essence or the isness of the ring, the signet ring, its dimensions, its shape, the categories of Aristotle, perhaps. Contemplating in that way, it's speculative. But as soon as it's used to stamp something, so Aquinas is saying, God has within himself speculative knowledge of things that could not or could be but are not. But as soon as he makes something come into space-time, boom, that same principles of knowledge that are speculative become practical in as much as they're stamped into matter and come into being. Okay, reply to objection 1. Back to Larry. Evil is known by God not through its own type, but through the type of good. Evil, therefore, has no idea in God, neither insofar as an idea is an exemplar, nor as a type. Going back to what we said about evil, evil is a deprivation of being. We had the paper and we poked a hole in it. God's knowledge of evil is as a deprivation of true being. And so, therefore, since evil has no being, how can it stamp anything into anything? Because there's no being to do the stamping. God has knowledge of evil in that way. He knows what is deprived or left out of what he is in his being. But he doesn't have the same type of knowledge as he does for other things. Okay, reply to objection 2. God has no practical knowledge except virtually of things which neither are nor will be nor have been. Since, with respect to these, there is no idea in God insofar as idea signifies an exemplar, but only insofar as it denotes a type. He was talking about things that haven't been made. Further, God knows, I'm reading the question from Ralph. Further, God knows things that neither are nor will be nor have been, but of such things there are no ideas, since Dionysius says acts of the divine will are the determining and effective types of things. So Ralph is wanting to say, since Dionysius has inextricably, it seems, connected ideas with will, and if God hasn't made it, that means he hasn't willed it, therefore there can't be an idea. Kind of clever. And Thomas is saying God has no practical knowledge. That's why he set up the whole exemplar and type thing. He's saying God doesn't have exemplary knowledge of things he hasn't created, but he does have speculative knowledge. Speculative knowledge of types. Reply to objection 3. Plato is said by some to have considered matter as not created. And therefore he postulated not an idea of matter, but a concause with matter. I love it when philosophers just slap words together. So sweet. Create a new word, says Nietzsche, but he's a goofball and didn't do it right. Anyway, but he's very eloquent and writes pretty stuff. Good for him. Can't get women though. Since, however, we hold matter to be created by God, though not apart from form, matter has its idea in God, but not apart from the idea of the composite. For matter in itself can neither exist nor be known. Variations on a theme. God has the ideas. The matter is what it's stamped into. Further, God knows primary matter of which there can be no idea. There can't be an idea of primary matter because it's not a form yet. It's just tohu vavohu. It's a formless void. And Shimon is wanting to say, look, you don't even have a fully formed idea. So he can't have an idea of matter. Matter isn't even formed. And Thomas is saying, Plato, since, however, we hold matter to be created by God, though not apart from form, matter has its idea in God, but not apart from the idea of the composite. For matter in itself can neither exist nor be known. You can't just have floating matter, but that seems to be what the tohu vavohu is. But we're not going to go into a big debate, Thomas. We're just doing a quick flyover. And we're almost done, guys. We're back of this page soon. Reply to objection 4. Genus can have no idea apart from the idea of species, insofar as idea denotes an exemplar. For genus cannot exist except in some species. You can't have genus just floating out. Genus is inextricably connected with some kind of existing species. The same is the case with those accidents that inseparably accompany their subject. For these come into being along with their subject. But accidents which supervene to the subject, have their special idea. For an architect produces, through the form of the house, all the accidents that originally accompany it. Whereas those that are superadded to the house when completed, such as painting or any other such thing, hanging your wall stuff and putting those beautiful lights you love on the porch, big blinking lights on the porch, are produced through some other form. Now, individual things, according to Plato, have no other idea than that of species, both because particular things are individualized by matter, which, as some say, he held to be uncreated, and the concause with the idea. And because the intention of nature regards the species and produces individuals only, that in them the species may be preserved. However, divine providence extends not merely to species, but to individuals as well, as will be shown in question 22. Big fat cliffhanger. We're going to figure it all out. Remember, guys, when you got him popping over to question 44 and 22 and everything, you should realize, you should see that you can't understand this all at once. If you feel frustrated, if you feel like you don't get it, this is a lifelong project. This is studying our beloved's hands. This is getting gradual revelations. I see this all the time in people. They think that there's, I would often talk to my atheist friends and they would ask me something and I was like, it's too much to explain. They were like, just give me the general thing. I'm like, no, you can't just get the general thing. It's like me being single, asking Joe what it's like to have a wife and family. And I'm like, Joe, just tell me just explain the meme bullet point of it. It's not that kind of knowledge. It's experiential. It's da'as knowledge. It's dot knowledge. We're studying these things, but you have to go out and experience life and start seeing life through this frame of meditating on God's hands and the things of God. So go out there, meditate, find times of silence, times of prayer, and meditate on the things of God. Remember that He is always present. Do not live in forgetfulness of the divine presence. And the Holy Spirit will alight on you like the little dove under the staircase. Peace be with you all. Congratulations to the world for a new Pope. May he be good one. May everything go well. May Christ return soon. Adios, amigos. Oh, today's my dad's death day. I dedicate this study to the new Papa and my old Papa. Peace with y'all. Bye.